Welcome to lesson 4.1. I'm super excited about this lesson and this whole unit because this is where we're going to be learning how to make full-scale web applications. We're going to be learning about two things in this unit. The first thing we're going to learn about is how to have users sign into our applications. All right? Think of a lot of the applications you have to sign in for. Why? Because maybe they have some data associated with you who you are, and when you sign in, they can give you all that personalized data for yourself. We'll be doing that. And two, we're going to be making a database. So we can actually save the data that users put in. So for example, when you go to Instagram, you upload a photo. If they didn't have a database, that photo would just not be there anymore when you re-logged in. With a database, we could have something called data persistence, meaning when the user logs back in, if we have it in a database, they get all their data back. So that's the goal here. And with those two things, you really have endless possibilities of what you could design. All right? User sign-in, database, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, boom, limitless. So, before we get started, I just want to confront two things. One, yes, I have no more hair. And two, yes, I have a giant pimple on my head. I can't stop staring at it. I'm sorry if this is distracting the whole video. It's distracting me because I can see my own face. Just want you to know that you could be 36 and still get pimples on your head. So you have that to look forward to, guys. Enjoy it. Okay, so for this lesson, we are going to have users sign into our application, our simple application, using something called Firebase. Now, Firebase is a Google product that makes it super simple to do two things: sign in users and create a database. Before products like this that made it so easy, having a user sign with Gmail would really be a pain. But now, companies like Google and many other companies have made it very simple to have simple sign-in processes and setting up a database very easily. So that's good. You are learning web development in a very good time. So the first thing you're going to do is just go to Firebase. Firebase. All right. So you type that into Google. You go to Firebase. This is where you should be looking. This is Google's Firebase. All right. The thing you have to do is just click Get Started. Now, they're very important. You will have an error. Do not use your UP Public Schools email. Because we are an education platform, we have not enabled you guys to use Google's platform in Firebase because, I don't know, let's get a little bit under the hood, makes us uncomfortable. So you're going to have to use a different Gmail account, one that's not at UP Public Schools. All right? Anything at Gmail will work. I'm going to use my personal email. At gmail.com. So make sure you're using something that's at Gmail, not at UP Public Schools. Don't worry, this won't cost you any money. Everything's going to be fine. Just you can't use UP Public Schools. All right, so then I just type in my password. I wonder if you could see this. Like, if you slow this down enough, do you think people could see well? Hope not. Oops. Okay, I don't know what my password is, so I do know what my password is. All right, so once you're signed in, you will get to your Firebase projects. Now, I've done other projects, obviously. You will have to click this button that says Add New Project. We're going to create a new project today. Just click here. Our project is going to be called User Sign In. That's our project. User Sign In. Sweet name. You want to make a cooler name? Have at it. We're going to unclick this. You don't need all of this. It's just a bunch of analytics we're not going to use. And we're going to create our project. And just spend some time, chill. I have a nice cappuccino here. Wait for it to all get done. There's nothing like a good afternoon iced cappuccino. It really sets the day, sets the midday into a good tone, I have to say. Oh, look at that. It's done. All right. So we press continue. And you should be taken to this page right here. Now, before we do anything crazy, we have to start working with our application. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing we have to do is actually bring the Firebase library into our project, meaning we get all that Firebase code that actually makes it work behind the scenes into our project. All right. So you're going to click this right here, where it says Get Started by Adding Firebase to your application. We click right here. This says web. We are making a web application. If you are an iOS developer, you can click here. They'll explain how to add it to your iOS. If you are an Android developer, you click there. We're web developers. And they also have Unity. You might have seen there. You can put any app here. So say university, or say sign in, whatever. Doesn't matter. Register app. Okay, and we're going to take all of this code and copy and paste it. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring that over to our starter code. So here's our starter code, by the way. Let's talk about what's already there. If we click it, you'll see here, we have an H1 that says sign in with Gmail and a button that says sign in. That button will have us sign in at some point. Not yet though. So you'll see here by the body, we just have three things. We have H1, sign in with Gmail, that button, and this div that says user, it's an empty div. We might be putting something there later. We'll talk about it. Now, what we're going to do is add what we just copied and pasted right here into our project. You want to do it right above your other script tag. All right, on line 14, we're just going to put it right there. And then we're going to format this file so it looks pretty. And there we go. Now what this does is it imports the general app into our project. And also you should know this, this is like all your personal information about like what your app name is and like where it lives on the internet and everything you'll need for your personal application to work. All right, that configures it. But we have to do one more thing. We have to like actually import the exact library that we want. There's like a database library and there's a sign-in or an authentication library. We need to get that library. So if you look right here, it says to do, add SDKs for Firebase products that you'd want to use. So we're going to want to use the authentication one. So take this link and go to it. A lot of steps, just some steps here. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this one. We want this one that says authentication. So Firebase auth. All right, that's the one we need for today. So grab this, and we're going to put this right under here. And once again, format so that says Firebase auth. So now we have the Firebase general application library, and we have Firebase authentication. And we have all the configurations needed for our own project. This means we are good to go. We can start developing our sign-in page. I'm excited. I don't know about you. Okay, now the second thing you have to do is you actually have to like turn stuff on so that we're able to sign users in. So once you've got this, we can continue to our console, and you're going to see right here on the left-hand side, you have all these different things you can do. There's authentication, database, storage, hosting, functions, and ML kit, which means stands machine learning kit. We're really going to be focusing on these two things. That's this authentication, database, and storage. That's where we're going to be spending most of our time. Today, though, we're working with authentication. So click here where it says authentication. And right here where it says users, anyone who ever signs into your project, you'll have it all listed over here. You'll get a list, and we'll show you later what that looks like. But right now we have to go to right here, click this tab where it says sign in method. And you'll see there's all these different ways to sign in. There's Microsoft, Yahoo, you can sign with GitHub, you can sign in with Facebook, you can sign with your Apple Center game. You can sign with the email and password phone, but we're going to be doing Google today. So what we're going to do is click this, you click edit. Put your email in here, and you have to click this button that says enable. So now we are enabling Google sign-in with our project. Okay, press save, good to go. Now the second thing you have to do is you have to say what domain or like where these requests are coming from. It's kind of saying like this is safe. So we're going to say add domain, and what you need to do is right here on this page, copy and paste the URL for this. That guy up there. Okay. And you're going to come over here, add that in. So this is like your glitch web page address. You need to add that in. That you're basically saying this web page is safe to do all this Firebase stuff. You want to keep your data safe, man. They don't want to just let anyone in. And now everything's set to go. We can actually start doing everything we need to get started signing users in with Gmail. So you'll see how easy it is now. So now we're going to go to our JavaScript. Everything's set up on our HTML. Now let's just talk about what's here already. We have let's sign in button, document to query sector sign in. That ID comes from here. This button has an ID of sign in. We add an event listener. All right. Right now all it does is console log hi. And then we have these two functions that we're going to do things with in a little bit. Right now I just want to show you that if we click the button here, we press this, it says hi. All right, so how do we get users to sign in? Well, what we're going to do is Google the words Firebase Documentation. Documentation is really where you learn about things. This is how I learned a lot about Firebase. And this is where you can really explore all the possibilities. Now, once you're here and you clicked it on, oh, sorry, I might have gone a little bit quick on that. You want to do documentation for Firebase. And right here it says get started for the web. We're making a web application. So get started for the web. And then if you go down here, it says authentication. Now, the one we're going to be doing is web authentication. So click for web and then go down to Google sign in. All right, this tells you how to do it. Really what we're going to do is just copy and paste a little bit of code. Now I could explain all this, but for now, let's just copy and paste. So the first thing you do is create an instance of the Google provider object, grab this, copy and paste it, and put it right here where it says sign in user. That is step one. The second thing you're going to do is scroll down where it says authenticate with Firebase using Google. Grab all this, copy and paste it. Boom. All right. Now, a lot of this, you don't even need. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to delete this comment, the token, and the comment underneath it. And then we're just going to add this in console.log user. And then all this error stuff under here where it says .catch or handle errors, we'll just take that all out and just say console.log error. And so basically what this does is it's a let me format this by the way so it looks good. Oh, that's good. And what this does is it will sign in the user with a pop-up, all right? And then one of two things happen. It says .then, the person signed in, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna console log who the person is who signed in, or there's gonna be an error and it's gonna console log the error. So those are the two things that can happen. So let's try it out. That really was it. We just copy and paste and deleted. You didn't have to delete all that stuff. It would have worked. I just want to keep it clean, right? So let's give it a shot. We press sign in. And if it's not working, you know why? This function is sign in user. We need to actually run that when we click the button. So under console log hi, we're going to say sign in user. So now we're going to run the sign in user function, and that is going to sign us in. So let's try it now. Let's see. And look at this. I could sign in with Gmail. So I'm going to pick my Gmail address here. And here we go. It's signing in. And boom. And here's the interesting thing right here. You will see that this is the actual user. So right here where we say console.log user, after we signed in with the user, it says we're going to get a result. The result is the user, and then we console log who signed in. And this has a lot of interesting information about who just signed in. It's good to know when you sign with Gmail. This is what the receiving party gets. They get the email, the display name, that's my name, and it also gets that little photo. Like you might see that I have this little Finn and Jake thing right here. That is your photo for this. So that's cool. I'm actually signed in to this application. The last part is to show the user that they signed in. So let's just do something pretty simple, and then maybe you guys can add a little bit to it. So let's make it so we show who signed in. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use this function right here where it says show user on screen. So let's run that. So after we get the user, we're gonna say this. Let's just copy and paste this. So we're gonna run this function. After the person signs in, we're actually gonna have to show the user that they signed in. We're gonna do something else. All right, so that's what this function is going to do. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to say this document.query selector. And you'll see that I already made a div to put things into. You'll see this div called user. I'm going to say hashtag user, and we'll say .inner HTML, and we'll say plus equals, and let's do this. It's user, because you'll see we're getting a user. And then what attribute do we want of there? So we sign in. Let's try this again. Yeah. Object. We get the point. We need to actually get the piece of data. We want to show their name. So let's go here. We'll say the display name. So we're going to say this, copy that. We're going to say user.display name. And watch this. Boom! It says that I'm signed in. Now watch, I'll quickly show you how to make it so it shows my picture as well. So let's see if I can do this in 30 seconds. We got to interpolate, so it's backticks, image, src, time's running short. Let's interpolate this guy, user.photo URL, backtick. Let's see if this works. Can I actually test it? Is it going to happen? 837. Boom, picture. So that is my display name and my user. That is it. Done.